So the new National League season is now just around the corner, and it's time to do some predictions. I've done predictions over the last 3 years for the National League, National League North and National League South, and over those 3 years I have done terribly. None of those years have ever seen me get any sort of predictions correct, but we're going to go and try again this year. I doubt I'm going to ever get any more than about 2 or 3 correct per league, but we can hope, we can dream. But first of all, this video is sponsored by OneFootball, which is a great way to stay up to date with loads of different league tables, particularly for the National League, which is what this video is. You can stay up to date with the league table for that and loads of different other stats from the National League. It's got really good average ratings of 4.7 and 4.8 on Play Store and App Store on Apple and Android, with over 1 million people rating on both of those platforms. There's lots of other features on the app as well, so if you want to download it and check it out, the link will be in the top line of the description. Without any further ado, let's get into this prediction, starting at the bottom of the table with number 24, which is Maidenhead. Having lost their top scorer from last season, Adrian Clifton, to Bromley, I struggle to see Maidenhead replicating their 19th place finish last season. They overachieved in many people's eyes, and Alan Devonshire over the years has done fantastically on low budgets. He's going to have to find another gem from non-league to try and help progress them and keep them in the National League. But number 23 is Sutton United. Last season they finished in 9th place, but halfway through the season Paul Doswell did leave, and he's now become the main manager of Havant and Waterlooville. And certainly what is Sutton's loss is Havant's gain, and for Sutton it's a huge loss because he's been an instrumental part of their club over the last number of years. Sent them on an amazing FA Cup run where they played Arsenal in 2016-17, and yeah, I think it's just a huge loss. He's been a fantastic part of their club, and I struggle to see them progressing as well as they have done with him in charge. They could prove me wrong, and I'm happy to be proved wrong. The number 22 is FC Halifax Town, and they've got a very small squad at this stage of pre-season. They've actually had to cancel one of their pre-season friendlies, and it's rumoured that the reason for that is because they actually couldn't field a team, which is a bit concerning. And yeah, I'm a bit worried for Halifax as well. Last season they finished in 15th place. And at 21st is the only promoted side from the 6th tier that I'm predicting to finish in the relegation zone, and that is Woking. They did fantastically to bounce back to the National League at the first attempt last season from the National League South. They showed great character in the playoffs, particularly in the semi-final, to get past Wealdstone when they were 2-0 down after 75 minutes. However, they've not made any big signings, in my opinion, that really make me think that they are making a statement on the National League. So it's a case of, will the players that they had last season be able to carry them through into the National League? And at 20th is a club that's had a lot of financial problems over the last few months. It's Ebbsfleet United, and currently, while I'm recording this video, they have a very small squad, but in that squad they have actually got a few quality players, the likes of Jamie Grimes, who's come in from Macclesfield Town. That's the one that was surprising me a little bit because he was fantastic in the National League with Dover over the last few years before signing for Cheltenham and then going to Macclesfield. He's dropped back down into non-league, and I think that's a great signing. And if they can keep up some signings like that, then I don't think they will have too many problems in surviving. But with the problems they have financially, it instantly makes you want to put them low down in the table, despite their 8th place finish last season, as a lot of their players they had last season have left. In 19th place, I'm predicting Chorley, another newly promoted side from the National League North. They won in the playoff final to get up to the National League. They've been competing up at the top of the National League North for a number of years now, and the 18-19 season was finally the one that they managed to get up. However, with the club staying part-time and not having made many signings ahead of the new season, I'm struggling to see them finishing any higher than 19th place. They'll be solid, I think, and I do think they will survive. In at 18th place is a club that actually last season were relegated but then reprieved. It's Aldershot Town. They finished in 21st place last season, but were reprieved due to Gateshead's demotion down to the National League North. But Aldershot now, they've got a second chance in the National League. Will they be able to take it and stay up this year or progress even further? In at 17th, I have put Barrow. Now, they finished in 10th position last year, which is quite a solid finish for Barrow, but with the strengthenings that have happened at other clubs, I think they may be left behind a little. That's obviously just my opinion, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. In at 16, I'm putting Barnet, who finished in 12th last season and have kept a lot of the players that finished in 12th for the new season. They've not made a huge amount of signings. And at 15th is Torquay United, who stormed to the National League South title last year after spending the first few months of the season in mid-table. They went on an unbelievable run. And at 14 is another newly promoted side, and the team that won the other league in the 6th tier last season, it's Stockport County. They're a big club with a big fan base, and them moving up to the National League is the culmination of a number of years trying to get out of the National League North. They've been there since 2013. It's almost a crime for a club that big to be in the National League North for that long. I don't see them going back down because that would be an absolute catastrophe for them as a club. I just don't see it happening with the strength of their squad from last season. And at 13 is Dagenham and Redbridge, and they've actually made a couple of solid signings ahead of the new season. I think that will help them progress beyond their 18th place finish last season. In 12th is the team that are actually predicted as one of the title favourites for the upcoming season by a lot of betting companies. Notts County are going in 12th position on this list, and that's because of the financial problems that are happening at the club. I've explained it all in a video which is up in the cards, and it's all very up in the air, and they've not made any signings yet. They've got very little depth in certain positions like centre-back and striker. They've got a lot of players that are there still from their days in the Football League last year and the season before that are on long contracts, on big money, and they can't get them off the wage bill. In 11th position, I'm putting Dover Athletic, who made a couple of strengthenings from their team last season, but for me, nothing that really makes them stand off the page. I think they'll do slightly better than last season where they finished in 13th. In 10th, I'm going with Hartlepool United. A big club at this level, but there are a lot of big clubs in this league this year. They've been at this level for a couple of years now, last season finishing in 16th place. And I think with the couple of signings they've made, the likes of Gus Mafuta coming in, he's a decent player and won the league with Salford last year. Luke Molyneux's a good signing as well. How much better will they finish compared to last season? I think they'll improve a little bit. 9th place, I'm putting Yeovil Town, who had some financial problems as well, similarly to fellow relegated side Notts County. But the situation with their takeover has progressed more than it has at Notts County. There have been some question marks over whether it's actually going to be a good takeover for the club, but regardless, they made a couple of good signings, bringing in the likes of Rhys Murphy, who scored 28 goals for Chelmsford in the National League South last season. He struggled in the National League in previous seasons when he's been at this level, but with such a great season behind him at one league lower, can he really hit the ground running in the upcoming season? The likes of Andrew Crofts and Lee Collins as well, solid players that have played in the Football League for a number of years. They'll certainly help. In 8th place is Harrogate Town, who finished in 6th place last season in their first season in the National League after promotion from the National League North. Last season they definitely overachieved. In their first season, obviously at this level, to finish in 6th place is impressive. And I think they'll have a good season again in the 1920 season. The first team that I think will finish inside the playoffs is the same team that finished in 7th position last season. It's Eastleigh. Yes, they have lost last season's top scorer, Paul McCallum, which will be certainly a big loss to them. But signings the likes of Jack Payne and the re-signing of Joe Partington from Bristol Rovers, for me, are really solid bits of business. In at number 6 is Boreham Wood, which is a great increase on their position last season, which was down in 20th. The reason I'm saying they're going to finish higher is because of a number of signings that they have made. The main one being Kabongo Chimanga coming in from Oxford City in the National League South. There was a lot of teams that were interested in signing him after he nearly hit the 40 goals mark for Oxford despite finishing in mid-table last season. He's an exciting player that in my opinion can help propel Boreham Wood up into the playoffs. Number 5, I'm going for Wrexham. But they seem to be stuck in a rut of being unable to get out of the National League, but will this be the season that they actually can get promoted? In my opinion, it will have to be through the playoffs because there are some teams, in my opinion, in terms of recruitment, that are stronger. Don't get me wrong, Wrexham have made a few decent signings. The likes of JJ Hooper and Devontae Redmond are good signings, in my opinion, particularly Hooper having scored a lot of goals last season for Bromley in the National League. In at 4th, I'm putting last season's runners-up, and that is Solihull Moors. You could say last season was a huge overachievement for the Moors, but they have actually spent big over the last couple of years, and they're continuing to do so with the signing of Paul McCallum from Eastleigh, who I'd imagine is on very good money to tempt him away from Eastleigh and stop him going up from the Football League. However, this signing does come to replace the firepower that they have lost. They've lost AD Yusuf, who signed for Blackpool, and Jermaine Hilton, who signed for Motherwell. That's two of their most important strikers in the team that have gone, but McCallum I think can help replace them. I think they'll do well this season, but they will drop just off that second position in my opinion. In 3rd position is a team that I think will be one of the real underdogs for the 1920 season, and definitely a team to watch out for that have sort of slipped under the radar in the last few years, but I think they've made some superb signings this summer, and that is Bromley. They only finished in 11th position last season, but this season I think they will do a lot better. Signings to the likes of Billy Bingham, Michael Cheek and Adrian Clifton are really solid players. Now into the top 2, and you may have worked out by process of elimination who those two teams are, and in 2nd position I'm going with AFC Fylde. They did well last season, finishing in 5th place, And they're another example of a team that, in my opinion, have recruited superbly. Signing the likes of Matty Costello, Jordan Williams, Scott Duxbury and Kurt Willoughby are really solid signings in my opinion. They've managed to keep Danny Rowe at the club as well, who is, in my opinion, by far the best striker in non-league football at present. But I think they will still finish behind my prediction for first place, which is Chesterfield. Now, you could say it's a bit of a bold statement saying they'll finish top of the table after finishing in 14th position last season, but for me, they are a massive club for non-league. Now, that's not the only reason that I'm saying that they're going to finish up at the top of the table. I think that they have the players, the manager, and the new signings to help propel them to the top. Their team, though you could say it is ageing, is flooded with experience not only at National League level but also at levels much higher. They've got a lot of experience that is not only going to help them progress this season, but I think they're going to have players that are going to have knowledge of how to get promoted. The signing of Anthony Gerrard is a superb one for them. Almost 450 appearances in the Football League. Yes, he's now 33, but I think he's an unbelievable player to have at non-league level. Also, the likes of David Buchanan, Liam Mandeville are players that have played at higher levels. And the second half of last season, since John Sheridan came in, they improved hugely and climbed away from that relegation zone to finish in 14th. And that momentum can only continue in my opinion, and I think they will finish higher this season. Yes, you could say that first place may be a bit beyond them, but I think that they definitely have it in them. And that is just my prediction. You know, on paper, you can guess things on paper based on signings, based on how they've done previously, based on the manager, based on a load of different factors. But non-league is so difficult to predict. But I do think that Chesterfield will be stronger this season, and that's why I'm predicting them to win the league. But do you agree with any of these predictions? Who do you think will win the league? Do you think I've got any predictions absolutely terribly wrong? Because I always get some that are literally at the complete wrong end of the table. It could be Chesterfield. It also could be the teams down at the bottom. Who knows what the season is going to bring? The season starts on the 3rd of August. It's not long to wait now, but clubs obviously will make more signings as we progress towards that date and also afterwards as well. So things could change based on a few signings. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button and click subscribe as well. Stay tuned for my predictions for the National League North and National League South, which will be coming up very, very soon. So yeah, I hope to see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.